What if I told you that airlines lose money every time they fly you somewhere? That the real business isn't transportation at all, it's something far more profitable and completely unregulated. Stick around till the end to discover the multi-billion-dollar secret hiding in plain sight. So how did airlines transform from transportation companies into unregulated financial institutions? Let's break it down. Before we explore the complex financial machinery, there's one fundamental concept that unlocks this entire story. And it comes down to this: airlines discovered how to print their own money. Think about it. When a government prints currency, it creates something out of nothing and exchanges it for goods and services in the economy. Airlines figured out how to do exactly the same thing, but without any of the regulations, oversight, or restrictions that bind actual central banks. Here's the key insight: a frequent flyer mile is a private currency. It costs the airline virtually nothing to create. It's just an electronic ledger entry, a digital number in a database. But airlines can sell these miles to banks and credit card companies for real cash, at prices roughly 3 times what it will eventually cost them when you redeem those miles. Let me repeat that because it's crucial. The creation cost is essentially zero. The sale price to banks is high, and the redemption cost is minimal. This spread, this gap between what they sell miles for and what they ultimately cost, is where billions of dollars in profit are generated. But here's what makes this truly powerful. Unlike actual flights, which are expensive to operate, vulnerable to fuel prices, and dependent on people wanting to travel, this currency business is predictable, stable, and almost entirely disconnected from whether planes are full or empty. This is your key to understanding everything that follows. Airlines aren't primarily in the transportation business anymore. They're in the private currency business. And every system, every policy, every complicated rule about miles exists to protect and maximize the profitability of this currency operation. Now that you understand airlines are essentially printing money, let's explore the sophisticated machinery they've built around this core principle. The primary buyer of this private currency isn't you, it's banks. Specifically, banks that issue co-branded credit cards. These partnerships are the financial engine. When Chase offers you 60,000 bonus miles for signing up for a United credit card, Chase is purchasing those 60,000 miles from United at a negotiated bulk rate, a rate that's a closely guarded trade secret. But analysts estimate airlines are selling these miles for around 1.5 to 2 cents each. For the banks, it's brilliant. They use miles as an incentive to get you to spend more on your card, generating interest and interchange fees. Those fees merchants pay every time you swipe. For airlines, it's even better. They're getting paid immediately, in cash, for a liability they might not have to fulfill for years, if ever. This brings us to the second critical component: managing the massive pile of unredeemed miles. In accounting terms, every mile sitting in your account represents deferred revenue, a future obligation the airline owes you. Airlines use sophisticated accounting standards, ASC 606 for U.S. carriers, that require them to record miles as a contract liability when issued. Revenue is only recognized when you redeem those miles. But here's where it gets fascinating. There's something called breakage. Breakage is the percentage of miles that will never be redeemed. They'll expire, accounts will go dormant, or people just won't bother. If an airline can reliably estimate breakage, they're allowed to recognize that portion as revenue immediately. This transforms liability management into profit management. Every policy that makes redemption harder, complex blackout dates, dynamic pricing, expiration rules, potentially increases breakage and accelerates revenue recognition. The third component is absolute control. Airlines function as unchecked central banks for their currencies, but with a power real central banks don't have. They control both the currency and all the stores where you can spend it. This dual control enables 2 powerful tools. First, dynamic redemption pricing. Using big data and revenue management systems, Airlines adjust the mile cost of flights in real time based on demand. A flight that costs 25,000 miles today might cost 75,000 miles tomorrow if demand increases. This ensures redemptions happen only when it's cheapest for the airline, filling empty seats that would otherwise fly unsold. Second, devaluation. Airlines can unilaterally increase the miles required for any redemption, instantly reducing the real value of every mile in circulation without compensating anyone. It's inflation by executive decision, and it's perfectly legal because miles aren't regulated like real currency. Now, let's see how this entire system operates in practice by walking through the financial reality of a major airline, using real numbers disclosed during the COVID-19 crisis. When the pandemic hit in early 2020, airlines faced an existential crisis. Planes were grounded, revenue evaporated overnight, and bankruptcy loomed. What happened next revealed the true financial structure of the industry. United Airlines needed emergency liquidity, billions of dollars to survive. So they turned to their most valuable asset, not their fleet of aircraft, not their airport gates, not their routes. They mortgaged MileagePlus, their loyalty program. United secured a $5 billion loan facility using MileagePlus as collateral. The disclosed valuation? Nearly $22 billion. At the same time, United Airlines, the actual company with the planes, had a market capitalization of just $10 billion. Let that sink in. The loyalty program was worth more than double the entire airline, but United wasn't alone. Delta mortgaged SkyMiles for $6.5 billion. American used AA Advantage, valued at approximately $30 billion, as collateral for Treasury loans. That's 5 times American's market cap at the time. Why were lenders so eager to accept these programs as collateral? Because the financial disclosures required for these loans revealed the truth about airline operations. American's flight operations were losing 0.43 cents per seat per mile. Costs of 14.85 cents exceeded revenue of 14.42 cents. United's core flight services cost $11.9 billion more than they generated. Delta's operations ran at a $6 billion loss. The airlines were structurally unprofitable at their core business. But MileagePlus, it generated $5.3 billion in sales in 2019, 12% of United's total revenue, and delivered $1.8 billion in EBITDA, representing 26% of total adjusted earnings. The loyalty programs were generating high-margin, predictable cash flow completely insulated from aviation volatility. Lenders understood that even if United stopped flying planes entirely, MileagePlus would continue generating cash from credit card partnerships, because that revenue comes from consumer spending in the general economy, not from air travel demand. Here's the complete financial flow. You swipe your co-branded credit card at a restaurant. The merchant pays an interchange fee to the bank. The bank uses a portion of that fee to purchase miles from the airline. The airline books this as immediate cash revenue with minimal cost. You accumulate miles representing a future liability, but the airline controls exactly when, how, and at what cost you can redeem them. This is why the system is so opaque. The actual price banks pay for miles is never disclosed. The true value you receive at redemption is deliberately obscured by dynamic pricing. The whole system relies on you believing miles are worth more than they actually cost the airline. And here's the regulatory gap that makes it all possible. These programs operate outside traditional financial regulation. The Federal Trade Commission has unclear jurisdiction over air carriers. The Department of Transportation lacks specific rules governing loyalty programs, particularly regarding devaluations. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau oversees credit cards, but not the miles themselves. So, airlines operate multi-billion-dollar currency systems without reserve requirements, without transparency mandates, and without consumer protections that apply to banks or securities. And there you have it. the hidden transformation of airlines into unregulated financial institutions. What started as a simple marketing tool evolved into a sophisticated private currency operation that now defines the entire economic model of the airline industry. The next time you're excited about earning miles or tempted by a credit card sign-up bonus, remember, you're not participating in a rewards program. You're participating in a closed monetary system where the airline controls supply, controls demand, controls value, and operates without the oversight applied to every other financial institution. The loyalty program isn't supporting the airline. The airline exists to support the loyalty program. The planes, the routes, the flight attendants, the pilots, they're all infrastructure for operating what is functionally a bank that prints its own money. And that's why United's loyalty program is worth more than United Airlines itself, because the currency business is far more profitable than the transportation business ever was. Thanks for flying with Runway Reveals today. If this financial deep dive opened your eyes to how modern aviation really works, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more investigations into the hidden economics behind the industry. Until next time, keep questioning what you think you know, because in aviation, nothing is quite what it seems.